Okay, welcome to the spring 2020 pre-work seminars for internships. This is not the ideal platform, but I think we'll be able to get what we need to get across. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the PowerPoint as I would if I were doing this face-to-face. And also I'll finish up by taking a look at uh, some of the locations where you can get some of these forms. But I think for clarity, let's just go through the PowerPoints and then I'll summarize in the end by looking at some of these different locations for the forms. All right, so this is for the summer 2020 internships, and this would be for anyone who is already accepted a position or you're pretty certain that you will be getting a position this summer. All right, so just going again kind of sequentially here. One of the first things that in fact, you probably already have done this, that needs to be done is an internship agreement form. These do need to be completed and signed, and you can locate those in the internship office, which is in the dean's office. Talk to Jolene, she can give you a internship agreement form. There's also usually some of these posted out by the bulletin board near the atrium, the main internship bulletin board. Your internship coordinator can also be a source of these internship agreement forms. As it says here, this is needed to be completed to receive credit for your summer internship. The main reason for this, and I mentioned this in the informational meeting, is that in the past we used to post the entire posting, which included all the details, obviously the job description, but also the application details, the contact information, and so on and so forth. And what was happening is people were using it as a jobs board. They would look at it and think, I don't have to get an internship right now, but I do need a summer job. And these postings are for internships. And so they would apply for the position, they would get the position that would deny you of an internship. So what we do now, as you notice, we post only the job description and a few other details and a 3-digit number at the bottom. That 3-digit number is then what you take to your faculty coordinator to get the full posting. And before your faculty coordinator will distribute the full posting, again, including all the application details, they'll check a spreadsheet that we have access to that lists all those who have completed the internship agreement form. And if your name is on the list, then we go ahead and forward the full details. If not, then we ask you to fill out the agreement form. And what the agreement form basically is it basically is stating that, upon signing the form, you will agree to use our postings only for internships. Now, if you find a job on your own, you do whatever you want, but we spend a lot of time and effort to develop well over 700 postings college-wide. And so if you do use one of our postings, then it must be used for an internship. And again, that's to protect you as an intern and give you as much different opportunities as possible. Also, it does ask you for your credits, and Jolene will also look up your GPA. That's just to ensure that you do have at least 30 credits and that you have a GPA of 2.0 or higher. We don't like sending freshmen on internships. You do need kind of a base of foundation knowledge to be receptive to on-the-job training. And if you don't have that, it's frustrating to you as you go there unprepared, and it is very irritating to the supervisor who was expecting to have a worker kind of hit the ground running, and they're having to train them in the very basics. So we do ask that you be at least a sophomore, a junior, or a senior. And that's how it's stated on the form. It asks if you're a sophomore, junior, or senior. Again, having 30 credits completed by the time that your internship begins. So if you haven't already done this, like I say, I would assume most of you have, but if you haven't, make sure you get this done. All right, then what you want to do is meet with your faculty coordinator. Now, this is upon acceptance of a position. So we've assumed that you've already applied, you've already interviewed if that was needed, and they have offered you a position and you've accepted it. All right, so the first step, if you will, in doing this is to develop a set of learning objectives. Now, I'm going to, again, revisit this when we take a look at where to get the forms, but let me just say it right now. Learning objectives, the whole point is for you to sit down and think through what you want to get out of this very, very important opportunity. I mean, this really is a major part of you being successful in getting that first job, is having an internship. And the reason is not only does an internship look really good on your transcripts, but it provides you practical experience. And this experience is something that will set you apart from your competition. At the level that you folks are going to be competing, everyone's going to have a college degree. So that in and of itself may not be enough. But having experience, pertinent experience on your resume, really goes a long way into making you employable. Add to that, the second important thing is networking, who you know. And so, and again, an internship it provides that as well. So it's hard to overstate the importance of this internship. And in order then for you to maximize the benefit of this internship, we ask that you sit down, spend a few minutes, and think through what it is that you want to get from this internship. Think strategically. What would be something I can go to a future job interview and say, look, I have experience doing this, this, and this. So think about your career path, think about this internship, and think about how you can maximize that. And what these learning objectives are basically a series of bullet statements, nothing more. You don't need to flesh them out into paragraphs or anything, just a simple bullet statement, and about a dozen of them. And you want these bullet statements all to start with active verbs, so rather than just do or learn, things like participate in, gain expertise in, enhance my ability to, things like that. And then you want to categorize these into three categories. The first category is skills and technical abilities. And this you want to have at least six or more in this category. So these would be, again, the skills that you want to get, the technical aspects of this position that you would like to gain experience with. So it might be things like, and I apologize, I'm going to be a little bit focused on my program, which is conservation environmental planning. But in that area, it might be things like, enhance my ability to identify aquatic invasive species. Or it might be gain expertise in running, a certain piece of equipment. Or it might be, become familiar with working with different government agencies, or whatever it is. It's the skills, the technical aspects of it. And again, this is something you're going to be running past your supervisor. So think about things that you want, that would be really good. You may not know if you're going to be able to work that certain piece of equipment or not, but if you want to, put it on the learning objectives. That'll bring that up in conversation, and at the very least, or very worst, they'll simply say, no, we're not going to do that this summer. But so think in terms of what you want to get out of this internship, and what you would kind of propose to your supervisor as possible areas of interest, and put those on those learning objectives. So again, the first category, you want about six or more that deal with the technical aspects, the skills that you would like to develop as part of this internship. Now the second category is a little bit less obvious. You want 3 to 4 that deal with the organization. Now when I say this, what I mean is, what do you want to learn about the organization? Not skills or technical abilities, but the actual organization. So it could be things such as, becoming familiar with the organizational structure, within that agency. In other words, who's the boss, who reports to who, and that kind of thing. Another one might be something like, gain an understanding of how this agency interacts with other, let's say, state or federal agencies like the DNR or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, or, public entities, that kind of thing. Private entities. So that could be another thing to learn about the organization itself. It could be things like, gain experience in advertising the services, goods and services provided by this organization, or, gain insight into how this organization gains its revenues or prioritizes expenditures. So again, it's all about, or it could be things like, understanding the various career tracks available within this organization. So again, the second category is learning about the organization itself. Okay, the third category then is 3 to 4, just like the second category, 3 to 4 bullet statements on communication skills. So again, what do you want to get out of this internship with respect to communication skills? So this could be things like, gain expertise in utilizing the terminology used in this field, or it could be something like, present information to members of the general public, or in a formal professional meeting, or before the county board, or something like that. Gain experience, presenting or communicating with members of the general public. It might be something like on a job site, gain experience in meeting with clients and bidding, developing bids for various projects, something like that. Or it could be something more straightforward, like, effectively communicate effectively within the organization's chain of command, or effectively utilizing, inter-office emails among, my colleagues. Or it could be something like, effectively utilize maps. Maps are a form of communication. So that's your learning objectives. So what you're going to do then, this is one of the first things you're going to do once you have accepted a position. Communicate with your faculty coordinator. If you don't know who that is, contact me or contact Jolene in the internship office, and set up an appointment then, or nowadays maybe by email, where you're going to submit a rough draft. In fact, it should be a rough draft of your learning objectives. So again, 6 or more in skills and technical aspects, 3 to 4 in the organization itself, and 3 to 4 in communications. So again, rough those out and send those to your faculty coordinator. Your faculty coordinator will then take a look at those and, basically make suggestions. All right, this one is good, but this one is more of a communication one. Let's move this one down here. Or, this one is, like, become a better worker, too nebulous, too, you really want specific statements. So they may say, this one, turn it, get rid of it and turn it into something specific. Or there may be one that, this is actually 2. You kind of combine 2 into 1. Anyways, they'll give you feedback. All right, and so that then you're going to incorporate that feedback and make your rough draft. Okay, so you've done that. Now, at the job site, by the end of the first week, and this is very important, by the end of the first week, you want to have sat down with your supervisor and gone through these learning objectives. Now there again, that is a chance for you to open up a line of communication with your supervisor. So rather than just showing up on day one saying, okay, what's the first thing I do? You sit down and basically negotiate in a way with your supervisor. It's a chance for you to express what you would like to get out of this internship. It's a chance for the supervisor to say, well, here's what we have planned. And so it's beneficial in both respects. So for that then, you want to run that past your faculty coordinator, past your supervisor by the end of the first week. After that, then incorporate any changes, and that is your final draft. That is your final draft. And we do have a learning objectives form, which you then transpose it onto that form, and then you print it out. It's a fillable PDF form. Print it out, sign it, and then have your supervisor sign it, and then get it back to us. Get it back to either Jolene in the internship office or back to your faculty coordinator. And again, I'll talk about ways to get it back to us. All right, and so then we'll sign off on it, and that'll be that. So again, that's really the first thing you want to do, is do the learning objectives, at least the rough draft. And again, by the end of the first week, you want to go ahead then and make sure you have that worked out with your supervisor. It doesn't work to do this halfway through your internship. That's not the whole point of learning objectives. So make sure you get on this right away. Very, very important. And if you're working odd hours, what is a week? Well, a week is basically 1/10 of your hours. So after 1/10 of your hours, whether that be a calendar week or something different, you should have your learning objectives finalized and signed off on and headed back our way. All right. The next thing is your pass-fail form. This is, I guess, essentially your registration form. And again, I'll show this form to you, but you basically, fill out, your name, again, how many credits you have, the course number, uh, the designator, and all that. We'll take a look at that when we take a look at the form. But that's what you want to do as well. And normally, what I would do is when the learning objectives, when you would stop in for a meeting to do the learning objectives with me, at that point is when I would also sign off on your pass-fail form. What that tells what that tells Jolene is that you did go through the learning objectives. Again, we're going to probably modify things a little bit, but that's how we basically are looking at that. Your pass-fail form. Okay, more about that when we get to it. All right, another requirement is a special project. A special project is, again, really meant to maximize what you get out of this internship. A special project does not have to be a big project. Your main duty is whatever your supervisor needs you to do. This is just something extra. So don't think of it as big, think of it as different. Again, it's an effort to allow you to have more on your resume by basically forcing you to do something outside of your normal, activities. Again, all in an effort to provide additional experience for your resume. So the special project, again, I'll just give you some examples. Again, more conservation, environmental planning focused. But in the past, I've had students, for example, do research. So they would basically gather data, maybe like an hour a day after the work hours. Or they would, let's see, I'm trying to think about the exact, make maps, maps of where there may be invasive species infestations. Let's see, making brochures for the general public, that's been commonly done. Making signage, fixing a piece of equipment. Again, really anything that is not a normal, 9 to 5. If your 9 to 5 is going out there and, spraying, herbicides on invasive species, then your special project cannot be, spraying herbicide on invasive species. It does have to be something different. And again, that's in keeping with the entire idea of what the special project is. Now, you want to have this, it's going to be another negotiation with your supervisor. And I would urge you to try to think of a project that would benefit you moving forward in your career. In other words, something that would be good in a portfolio, something that you could take to a future employer and say, look, this is what I did. And that's, kind of the position that I would recommend that you negotiate from. Now, your supervisor may be looking at it differently. They may be thinking, okay, you need a special project, right? Well, we've always had this back burner thing that we just never got to. Why don't you make that your special project? Now, at the end of the day, of course, they will have the last word because they're the ones, that employed you. But in as much as you can, negotiate, try to make it, again, something that's going to be beneficial to you. All right, so by the end of week 2, you want to have your special project determined by the end of week 2. Run it past your faculty coordinator. Your faculty coordinator really won't, get in the middle of it. The only reason they would have any comment is if it is, in fact, what you normally would be doing. Again, if you say you're spraying herbicide on invasive species as a special project, they'll say no, if that's what you're normally doing. Other than that, it's between you and your supervisor. So, what you do then is you will have your idea finalized by the end of week 2, and then work on it throughout the summer. Whatever it is, whatever you have settled on as far as your special project, work on that throughout the summer or throughout your internship. And then, if it is a summer internship, in the fall, usually the 3rd week in September, we're going to call what we call post-work seminars. This will be called by your faculty coordinator, and it's usually, starting in the evening, like 5 o'clock at night, again, 3rd week in September. And that's where all the returning students, interns, will come back for this post-work seminar. If you are graduating at the end of the summer, you do not need to come back for this. But if you are a returning student, then you do need to attend this. And it's run based on the faculty coordinator's discretion. Some that may have only a few interns may have you do presentations, things like that. In others where you may have a lot of, students, you may have 5-10 minutes, to informally talk about what it is that you did for your internship and your special project. So again, it's going to be at the discretion of the faculty coordinator. But the reason I bring this up is that is when your special project is due, right? So end of week 2, have the idea finalized, work on it throughout the summer, and then you want to go ahead then and have it completed and turned in by the 3rd week in September. All right, a little note here: if you are traveling international for your internship, you must meet with the International Education Group to complete the appropriate paperwork and required insurance. There will be an additional cost for this. So even if you're just going across the Canadian border, for a few days, you do have to work through our International Education Office. That is mandatory. Okay, so before leaving campus, there's also something called a placement data form that you need to turn in. That is basically just contact information. Halfway through your internship, there will be a site visit or a phone conference with your faculty coordinator, your supervisor, and yourself. So this is really just contact information, so we know how to get hold of you to set up that meeting. Again, the pass-fail form, that again can be turned in as soon as you have the rough draft of your learning objectives done. At that time, then Jolene will issue a permission number, and you can then go on to ESIS and register. I will say 2 things. First of all, when you search for the class in ESIS, make sure that you uncheck that little box in that search engine box where it says show open courses only. Make sure that is and that's the default to have it checked. Make sure that you uncheck that, because that will these courses don't actually have seats. They only have a seat every time a permission number is given. So it's technically it's closed. Not to you, but it's technically closed. So make sure you unclick that. Otherwise, when you search for the appropriate course, you're not going to find it. And by the way, the course will be whatever the prefix is for your program. In mine, it's ESM for Environmental Science and Management. So it would be ESM, and then 270 is the number for your first internship. If you're doing a second internship, then it's 370. So that's how you search for it. Okay, anyways, so you go on to ESIS. Again, make sure you unclick that little default box. And then also, I think it defaults to 2 credits. 2 credits is for a spring semester or fall semester internship. A summer internship is 4 credits. There is one exception, and that is if the employer limits your hours, then we could do a 2-credit summer internship. Otherwise, though, that's the only exception. Otherwise, it is a 4-credit internship. So make sure you do select the appropriate number of credits. Let's see, what else I want to say about this. You can start your internship in the spring and finish it in the summer. You can start your internship in the summer and finish it in the fall. You can start your internship in the fall and finish it in the spring. So you can do it in 2 consecutive semesters. The way you determine, is this a spring internship or is this a summer internship, it's the semester in which you do the majority of your hours. So if you just start it in the spring, but you really get most of your hours in the summer, that is a summer internship. Okay? So for the summer, the tuition is due on May 28th, and there's the Wisconsin, Minnesota tuition payment. That includes the student fees for the summer 2020. All right, so your first week there, discuss, let me see if I missed anything. Nope. Okay, so your first week, discuss the learning objectives again with your employer. Like I say, this is after you run through the rough draft with your faculty coordinator. Allow them again to make any modifications. And then again, once you have that final draft, then you transpose them on the form I'm going to show you. And then you print it out, sign it, have your supervisor sign it, and then send it back to us. And your employer and your faculty coordinator will then sign it. All right, make sure you retain a copy for yourself. Again, this is an understanding. Now, on the rare instance, and I do say rare, I've only experienced it once, but if there is just basically the internship is not, they're not following through. I had an instance where a company, it was a landscaping company, basically promised the intern, everything. We're going to get you out there bidding on jobs. We're going to get you out there, meeting potential clientele. We're going to, have you in the back room doing the budgeting. We're going to have you out there, on the crew, doing installation, maintenance, all this stuff. They had them moving bricks, cinder blocks from point A to point B. So after a couple weeks, we got them out of there. But what I'm getting at is that learning objective in that rare instance is some leverage. It's not necessarily a contract per se, but it kind of is. It's an agreement. And so I could go there and say, thank you so much for providing this important opportunity for so and so. But I do notice that on the learning objectives, there was a focus on learning how to do this piece of equipment or whatever. And I haven't really seen any evidence of that in the weekly status reports. Is there any way that you can get, the intern to be able to do more of that? So it does give us a little bit of leverage, like I say, in those rare instances. What else? What else? What else? Okay. By the end of your second week, again, you should identify your special project with your employer, and again, send that in to your faculty coordinator. All right, do email photos of you working at your internship. A lot of times I'll go out there with my camera, but honestly, when we meet, it's just, in an office, so I'm making a picture of someone standing in front of the, company logo. But we really want action photos like this, like these. Yeah, and please send them to your faculty coordinator or send them into Jolene. And we love to have this for, advertisement, brochures, PR, that kind of thing. Do make sure you have, however, cleared it with your supervisor. Some companies, there is severe restrictions as far as, taking photos inside. So make sure that you get approval or the okay to do it. But yeah, any action photos would be well appreciated. All right. Now, there's also program reports, weekly reports. They're not really weekly, they're about every other week. And they're not really reports, they're more kind of just answering questions like, which learning objective have you made progress on this week? How's your communication going with your supervisor? Anything your faculty coordinator can do to help? So kind of questions like that. And this is kind of getting a little bit ahead of here, looking at the different places you can get these forms. You can either send them in hard copies, through the website, or through Canvas. Again, I'm going to go into that in detail here. All right, the reports will depend on your coordinator. Some will have you do more reports if needed, but at the minimum, yeah, week 1, 2, 4, 6, 10, as well as 11 and 12. And we do ask that you do 11 and 12, even if you're not there for 11 and 12 weeks. It just has some really nice follow-up questions that we'd like to get some information on. All right. Also, your faculty coordinator is there for you. This is what we do. And so if there are any issues that come up, by all means, contact your faculty coordinator. And this is a story you might have heard me tell before. I tell it a lot. But I got a phone call from a student who just went on a rampage, basically just ranting about their coworker who was not pulling their weight. They were lazy. They were incompetent. They weren't, And so this intern had to do twice the work. They weren't getting any, recognition for it, and so on and so forth. And of course, I'm thinking, okay, well, what do we do? How do we solve this? And when they took a breath and I jumped in, I said, okay, here's what we should do. And they said, no, I don't want you to do anything. They said, I just needed to tell somebody. It was really bugging me, and I couldn't tell. I didn't want to tell my supervisor. They would have thought I was a whiner, and I didn't want that to, be, negative, view of me. But I just had to tell somebody. Perfect, that's what we're here for. I mean, obviously more, I guess, objective or identifiable kinds of issues, but certainly just, if there's just something that, is not going well, let us know. That is why we're here. And definitely if you need any support. So if, for example, a piece of equipment we might be able to supply for you, or expertise, maybe get you in connection with, so-and-so that's an expert in whatever, or maybe it's getting you some time in the GIS lab, anything we can help to facilitate you at your workplace, let us know. All right, so any issues or anything that we can do to assist you, please, anytime, let us know. All right, the on-site visit. Um, this is perhaps a little bit up in the air. We're going to see how the summer goes. Hopefully we'll be back to somewhat normal and be able to come out and visit with you, because this is a normal part of the process. And as you can see here, usually about midway through, in my case, I usually try to do this in July, we'll come out and visit with you. In my case, and again, it varies by faculty coordinator. Some have a few interns, others have many, so that'll influence how much time they can spend. In my case, it's usually about 45 minutes. And what I do is um, I'll meet with both the intern and the supervisor, kind of get a layout of rundown of what they've been doing. Then I'll meet with the supervisor individually, and the first thing I do is thank them for giving you this opportunity, and see how things are going. If there's anything that I might be helpful in stepping in for, um, and let them know if there's anything that we can do again to help support you and this internship, that we are available for that. And then, so that usually takes about 10 minutes, and then I'll meet with the intern for about 10 minutes, and again, just see if there's anything that I need to know about, it that I could maybe assist with, and maybe relay any comments that the supervisor made, um, and again, offer any assistance, equipment, expertise, whatever. So usually, like I say, in my case, usually lasts about 45 minutes. Now, if you're within 300 miles of campus, then your faculty coordinator is required to do a face-to-face visit. Like I say, we may modify this depending on what happens. Might just be a phone visit, but ideally, it'll be a face-to-face visit. Um, if you are over 500 miles away, then it must be done by phone. We simply don't have the budget to, go out to California to visit with you. So if it's over 500 miles, then it will be by phone. Now, between 3 and 500 miles, that is really at the discretion of the faculty coordinator. I usually try to go out all the way up to 500 miles. I like these visits, and but again, your faculty coordinator may limit that to 300 miles. All right, again, contact us anytime if you have any questions or issues. If you can't contact your faculty coordinator, call Jolene in the internship office, and she can hopefully either assist you or get you in contact with your faculty coordinator. All right, for the employer, they will at the end complete an evaluation form, and for that, I'll show you again where you can get the form. You want to give that to your supervisor the last maybe 2 weeks of your stay there, and they will then fill that out on your behalf. They're critiquing you and your performance, and many of them do choose to visit with you and kind of go over it, and then they will get it back to us. All right. So again, I will talk about where you can get these forms. All right. When you come back, then again, the post-work seminar that you must attend with your faculty coordinator. And again, like I say, these traditionally have been the third week in September, so that's what I anticipate for this next week as well, or next fall. All right. Of course, it'll be advertised. Special project again will be due at that final seminar and presented again, depending on your faculty coordinator and the time that they have. This may be a full-blown PowerPoint presentation, or it might just be turning it in. All right, any forms in your folder that you haven't used, if you did get hard copies, then you can turn those in too, so we can recycle them. All right, so this is the point where I would ask you for any questions. Of course, we're not in a classroom together, so I would, again, feel free to contact me. My name is Eric Sanden, Sanden. You can find me in the campus directory, or you can get a hold of me through the internship office. And you can also direct your questions to the internship office. All right. So what I want to do next then is to go ahead and to take a look at where you can get these forms. Now, there are three places you can get the forms. Basically, you can get hard copies of all these forms I'm about to describe, along with self-addressed stamped envelopes. So if you are, kind of in a remote location, sometimes hard copies are a better choice, a better option. And so you get it through the CAFES homepage. So I went to the CAFES homepage, College of Ag, Food and Environmental Science, and over here in the left-hand toolbar, you'll see where it says internships. And the internships area then also then has the drop-down menu. So go ahead and expand that menu, and you'll see internship forms at the bottom. So site number one or place number one for the forms, the internship office, Jolene can give you hard copies. She will give you a folder that has, again, all these forms along with self-addressed stamped envelopes. The second place again is right here where it says internship forms at the bottom of this on the CAFES homepage. Okay. So here they are. They're not all of them, but they're most of them. For example, the agreement form is not here. For that, again, you can get that through your faculty coordinator. You can get that from Jolene, and like I say, there's usually some posted available down by the main bulletin board in the atrium, second floor Ag Sci building. All right, so here's that placement data form. So if you want to do it this way, you can just go on the website and fill this out. It's a fillable PDF, submittable form. So just go ahead and fill all that out. Again, the placement data form is so that we can get in touch with you to set up our meetings, our on-site visit, or our phone visit. All right, so that's all this is. So you can fill that out. It's, again, you and your supervisor. And then you go ahead and hit submit. All right. All right, so then let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the next one. Here's the pass-fail form that I alluded to. So here we have a fillable PDF form, but that you then print out. So here you put your name, your ID number, the major, the minor if you have one. The year would be, freshman, well, it wouldn't be freshman, but sophomore, junior, senior. Total earned credits, total earned credits that you anticipate at the start of your internship. Now, don't get too, worked up about it. That, well, what if I don't pass a class, or what if, whatever. All we need to do is know that you have more than 30. That's all we're looking at. Likewise with the GPA, it's at the end of the semester. As long as it's more than 2.0, we're good. So look at your DAR, look at your overall GPA, and put that there. All right, the class number is that 4-digit number that you can get, like when you go into the search engine and you search for the course, there's that little 4-digit number off to the far left. That's the number you want to put in here. So whichever course you are, maybe it's animal science 270, or horticulture 270, or ESM 270. When you search for that, look for that 4-digit number, and then put that in here. The department again would be, in my case, ESM, or again it could be Hort or Animal Science or Ag Biz or what have you. And then the catalog number again, if it's your first internship, it's 270. If it's your second internship, then it's 370. Now, if you are Ag Education, it's a little bit different. So you can talk to your faculty coordinator. I think they do have a 170 option. Otherwise, it's 270 or 370. Semester would be, summer 2020, for example. Credits would be 4, would be your typical, and instructor would be your faculty coordinator. So go ahead and put that down as your instructor. Leave this blank right now because you're going to get that from Jolene, and leave this second one here, or this middle part blank too. This is only if you're doing an internship that's going to last more than one semester. All right, and then go ahead and date it and print it out, and then you sign it. All right. And now, like I say, in a normal situation, what I would do is once you have your rough draft of learning objectives done, I would set up an appointment for you to come in for us to review it, and I would have you bring this form with you. At the end of our session there, then I would sign off on it. And you would take this down to Jolene, and that would tell her that you've gone over your learning objectives with your faculty coordinator, and she would then issue the permission number. Then again, you would take that permission number, go on to ESIS. Again, make sure you uncheck that default box, show open courses only, make sure that is not checked. And then go ahead and use that permission number to go ahead and add the course again, making sure you do have the proper number of credits listed. All right, so that then is the pass-fail form. Like I say, hard copies are available, all of these, if you want to get them in that folder. Okay, so we talked about the learning objectives at length. So here is the guidelines. So again, as I mentioned, you want to start with active verbs. All right, and again, they're just bullet statements. Sentence fragments. And here you want 6 or more that deal with the technical aspects and skills. So again, what it is you want to learn about the technical aspects and skills. 3 to 4 focused on the business-related issue, that is the organization itself. Again, how it's structured, how it functions, how it relates with other entities, that kind of thing. And then 3 to 4 that deal with communication skills. So again, this along with your pass-fail form are what you should do now, or when you're ready to do it. This is the first steps. So again, rough these out and then contact your faculty coordinator, and your faculty coordinator, either with a face-to-face visit or by email or something, will then review those learning objectives and make changes and send them back to you. All right, you then incorporate those changes and you take that draft to your workplace, and by the end of week 1, you want to have gone over that with your supervisor and print that out. So then you transpose that onto the next form I'm going to show you and sign it, have your supervisor sign it, and then send it back to us by the end of the first week. All right. As far as if we're not going to meet face-to-face for this and your pass-fail form, just email that to your faculty coordinator. Your faculty coordinator can then either print it out, scan it in, and get it down to the internship office, or just let Jolene know that that it's been done, and then you can get your permission number that way. All right. So these are the, again, guidelines for these learning objectives. All right, so then here is the actual form. Now, if you want to use this form for your rough draft, or your rough draft, or your final draft, it definitely has to be for the final draft. But the other ones, like I say, just on a neatly written on a piece of paper is probably good enough, or word processed. But for the final one, then again, here's a fillable PDF form. You want to go ahead and fill this out. Put your name at the top, and then fill these out. Again, you can see the technical aspects and skills, organizational functions, and the communications. All right, and then again, you print it out, sign it, have your supervisor sign it, and then send it back to us, and your faculty coordinator will sign it. And again, I keep saying this, but I want to emphasize by the end of week 1 is when this should be done. All right, and again, use it strategically. All right, what's not here either is also any mention of the special project. There really isn't any form. Just again, by the end of week 2, have the idea worked out with your supervisor, run it past your faculty coordinator, working on it throughout the summer, and at the post-work seminar, 3rd week in September, is when it's due. All right, so here's the weekly reports. Like I say, they're not weekly, nor are they really reports. But here, again, you can get hard copies of all of these, but here's the second place. You can just jump onto the website and put in your name and select your faculty coordinator. And then here's the different weeks. So if you put in your first 1/10 of the hours, go to week 1 and fill that out. And then you can just submit it right there. It goes directly to the internship office, and that then gets routed to your faculty coordinator. And then do week 2, week 4, week 6, and so on. And again, make sure that you keep up with these. Make sure that these are timely. You're not going to be successful in this if you're always lagging behind, and your faculty coordinator is not going to, be holding your hand and saying, get this in, get this in. That's your responsibility. So make sure you get yourself in a good routine. Leave yourself, notifications on your phone to make sure you keep up with this. All right. Okay, so there is the weekly reports. Okay, down here then is the employer evaluation. And like I say, you can print this out for them and they can fill it out and send it in to us, or you can simply give them the link and they can then do this online. They will need to print it out and then get it back to us. Again, during the internship visit, site visit, is where your faculty coordinator will usually leave a business card so that they can know where to send this to. Or if they want to, again, scan it in and email it to you, they can certainly do that. So This is the second place where you can get your forms. All right. The last place, the third place, is on Canvas. And so once you have registered, in your dashboard, your Canvas dashboard, you will have a tile that will be, whatever, 270. And there you will find this. Now, this is the template. Your individual faculty coordinator may customize this, but this is where you can, this is the template that I share that they can use kind of as a starting point. So here we have just some basic instructions. And then here we have the faculty coordinator contact information. So again, you can get a hold of them. And here's the status reports. Now, I have them in two different formats, Word or PDF. You just need to do one. I just put them in different formats for whatever you find most comfortable to work with. And so here we have week 1 all the way through week 11 and 12. Here's the employer evaluation form. So again, here's another place you can print that out and get it to your supervisor. And then here we just saw this. This is the guidelines for developing learning objectives. And then here's the actual forms, again, in two different formats. Here are some of the background forms, I guess maybe the, registration forms. We got the pass-fail form, the placement data form, and here's that student internship information and agreement form. So again, if you haven't done this yet, here's a third place that you can get this these forms. So they can all be downloaded and printed out. And then as far as getting back to us, in the assignment section, we have drop boxes for all of these. So you can simply upload them into these appropriate drop boxes, right? And lastly, there is a grade list. Now the grades are just, 1 or 0. It's really just, a placekeeper, but it's really handy. As you submit things, your faculty coordinator will go ahead and put in 1s, so you know how many you've completed. And you can look at the total at the end. I think there's a dozen. So if you see that there's, a total of 7, that means you got 5 forms that you still need to get, turned in. So that then is the third place that you can find all these forms. So either hard copies from the internship office, the CAFES homepage on the left-hand toolbar under internship and internship forms, or through Canvas once you have registered. So just again to recap, learning objectives are really the first thing you should be thinking about now. Again, get a rough draft of that, and again, pay attention to it, because again, this is going to help really kind of set the stage for a successful internship. And again, to maximize the benefit that you get from this. So you want to rough that out. You want to contact your faculty coordinator when you have that done, and get that to them either personally or electronically, and they'll give you the feedback. At the same time, you can forward your pass-fail form and have them sign it. And then by the end of week 1 at your job site, you want to have gone over that draft with your supervisor and develop that final draft, which then again, both of you sign, and you send in, your faculty coordinator then signs it as well. The idea for the special project should be at the end of week 2. Run that idea past your faculty coordinator, just again to make sure it's not what you're already doing. And then again, the weekly status reports, you want to make sure you keep on those on a timely basis. And then of course, about halfway through the site visit, either in person or again by phone. And then by the second to last week of your stay there, give your supervisor the employer evaluation form for them to then fill out and get back to us. Like I said, a lot of times they will go over that with you, and you can then bring it in if you'd like. And then third week in September, you want to then meet for the post-work seminar. And that again is when your special project is due. So again, to reiterate, right now you should be thinking in terms of your pass-fail form and the rough draft of your learning objectives. All right, contact us if you have any questions. That is myself, Jolene in the internship office, and or your faculty coordinator. All right, well, good luck to you on your internship. And again, don't underestimate the importance of this. This is really going to be a major ticket into your first job. So, do a good job of it. And one last thing I want to say, I guess, in parting, is what I tell all of my interns is keep a log of all your activities on a daily basis. Take 5 or 10 minutes at the end and just list everything you did. And now this is going to sound a little bit strange, but especially the little things. Because when it comes time to write your resume, you're going to remember the big things, the major jobs that you did, but the little things you're going to forget. And we call that transferable credits. And if people undersell themselves on the resume, it's usually because they don't appreciate what they call transferable credits. That is, I'm sorry, transferable, not credits, transferable skills. Meaning that, well, a lot of times I get a question, well, I worked at a convenience store this summer. Do I really want that on my resume? And the answer is a profound yes. That's a lot of transferable skills. That's, public contact, money handling, maybe supervisory work, opening and closing. Those are all very important tasks that a future employer will definitely appreciate. So the little things are likely to be forgotten. So just keep a rough log of anything new that you've done that day. And again, especially anything different or small that you may easily forget. And just keep a rough copy of it. And what I offer to all my interns is that at the end of the semester, at the end of your internship, feel free to stop by. And I'm pretty good at being able to translate those different tasks into something that's good on your resume. So again, kind of keep a running list of the little things to do. I had a student once who was out there working out in the field and near the side of a road, and a small child came by and said, hey, what kind of tree is that you're working on? Now that's something they will never remember as far as, when it comes time to write the resume, but that's public contact, that's interpretive services, that's plant identification. There's tons of stuff in there. So again, jot down what you do, the little things, the new things, and again, to maximize the benefits you get from this internship. All right, so with that, I will finally sign off here again. Good luck with your internship. Contact us if you have any questions, and stay safe and stay healthy.